banking problem their key issue in the race. I'm joined now by Illinois Republican Congressman Aaron Schock. Congressman Schock, good to see you today.
Good to see you, Contessa. Thanks for having me on.
Hey, I know that we're seeing a lot of anger from average Americans here about the banks and the financial system. So given that the likely Democratic nominee in this race is coming under some scrutiny over his own dealings in the banking world, do you think that will be a major factor into this race in November?
Well, it certainly doesn't help. And it's compounded with the fact that the national scene is not good for incumbent Democrats or Democratic candidates. But that same frustration with one-party rule, the same frustration with gridlock that we're seeing nationwide with Washington, we've been seeing for a decade here in Illinois. And it boiled to the point when former Governor Blagojevich was removed from office. Many people thought, well, gee, now that he's gone, things at state government here in Illinois will turn around, and they haven't. They've only gotten worse. And so we've had one-party rule here in Illinois for many years, and it's not just Republicans and independents, but Democrats as well, saying, you know what, we need some change, we need some different representation, and we're looking serious at electing a Republican for governor and for the U.S. Senate seat that was once held by Barack Obama.
Okay, so the state of Illinois politics, is that really blamed on the state treasurer here, Janulius?
Well, I don't know if it's blamed on him. Certainly, he's a constitutional officer, but it's more of a frustration with one-party rule. The Democratic Party has controlled every constitutional office. They control the House and the Senate here in our state, and so the same frustration you see nationally right now with the election of Scott Brown in Massachusetts. People saying, I don't care if I have voted Democrat all my life, if I don't care if I'm an independent voter. I want to send a message to Washington, D.C. to change the way you're doing business, and I think we're going to see the same thing in Illinois. It's not unheard of for Illinois to have a Republican senator. In fact, Barack Obama, when he took the seat, Fitzgerald, who was a Republican from Illinois.
And we know that the pendulum tends to swing back and forth among the voter emotions and feelings about which party is effective. But that being said, you think that there is more a fundamental distrust of insider politics, that what people want? I mean, here you are, the youngest member in the House of Representatives. Do you think people want some fresh faces in Washington?
Absolutely, and I think it's a challenge for anyone who's running as an incumbent.
Okay, so in this case,
member of office to
Mark Kirk would be running as a 5-term U.S. congressman. He really can't portray himself as an outsider. Does that work against him?
Well, I think because both of them are office holders, they'll have to defend their record. Certainly, Mark has had to defend his record in the Republican primary that he's running in now. Fortunately for Mark, he's a very independent Republican voice. He's a very moderate Republican. He's a Scott Brown Republican, if you will, and that will bode well for him as he runs statewide in Illinois, which tends to be a moderate state. That's why many favor Mark Kirk in the general election if it is a Kirk versus Giannoulias. But you're right. Anytime you're an elected representative, the upside is you have much more name ID, you have advantages in terms of organization. The downside, of course, is you've had to make decisions and oftentimes have a voting record that you have to defend.
Especially right now when there seems to be so much anger at the way government works in general. It seems like any established politician is going to have a rough road ahead. Congressman, good to see you today. I appreciate your time.
Thanks, Contessa. Good to be with you.
Britain's Prince Harry takes a big tumble off his horse.